Reminder, we will be recording this session, and please feel free to use the chat feature to ask any questions during the presentation. We'll answer those at the end. And I'd like to begin our program by sharing with you what I've taken away from my Leadership U experience. I have a lot of friends that I've kept in touch with since graduating from the program over a year ago. Some of them have said that they found a boost in their confidence or public speaking skills. Others took away internships or career advice. And some felt particularly connected to and continued the community service projects that we completed through the program. Everyone gets something different out of the program, and what I got was the opportunity to meet and work with really incredible people. It'll be 2 years since I interviewed for the program in March, and the biggest thing I can say is that the structure of the program is built to create an extremely unique environment for each individual while also being able to teach teamwork and communication with other students in Howard County. And with that, I'd like to introduce the president and CEO of Leadership Howard County, Stacy.
Thank you so much, Nikita, and good evening and welcome to everybody, both parents and also the students that are here tonight. We're glad to have you come to learn more about our program. So I'm going to give you a quick who is Leadership Howard County intro, since many of you may not know much about the organization. And the first thing is to share is that Leadership Howard County started in 1986 with the first class graduating of adults. And we are a 501c3 nonprofit. We are not part of the county government or the public school system, but we're part of a national movement of community leadership programs across the country, many of which started in the late 80s and early 90s. There's over 800 to 1,000 of these community leadership programs. And our organizational mission is to empower individuals to strengthen and transform our community. And that certainly includes, our youth, and because will be our future leaders. So we feel very strongly that is a part of our job, is to make sure that we're also developing our next generation of leaders. And we want to prepare and inspire and connect them to make this community the best place it can be to live, work, and to play. And we have a tagline that says "Take your place," and we really try to help all sorts of people who connect with us to do that, to find boards, commissions, councils, committees to join. And we really feel that our role is to be the critical force preparing leaders in our community with the knowledge and the connections to build a strong and inclusive community. So we have two adult programs. Our program that started and graduated the first class in 1986 is called the Premier Program, and it's for senior level business, civic, and nonprofit leaders who have a history of community involvement. So some of you parents on the call tonight might be interested in learning more about that. We have a young professionals program that we run in partnership with Loyola University. And then those are the two adult programs. And then we have Leadership U, which started in 1996 to provide students with an opportunity to develop. So there's more than 800 students that have been through the Leadership U program since 1996, and 120 service projects that have been contributed back to our community during that time. And then we have an umbrella group of alumni to which anyone who has been through one of our programs can participate. And we offer monthly learning opportunities to know what's going on in the community. If you've been through the program a long time ago, people have changed and positions have changed and issues have changed. So we try to keep our alumni current on what is going on and how they can get engaged. So I'm so glad to have you here with us tonight. And now I have the honor of introducing you to one of our amazing volunteers, Eileen Harity, who is the co-chair of the Leadership U Steering Committee. Eileen.
Thank you, Stacy. I've had the opportunity to be involved with Leadership U since 2008, 2009, when I graduated from one of its programs, and it really caught me. That was the Leadership Premier program. I'm very invested in our youth. Had two children who have gone through this program, and very different children who gained a lot from it. You heard from Nikita, and you're going to hear from our other students tonight, and I'm going to reiterate a little bit about what it benefits or how it benefits your student or yourself, and then also give you an idea of the summer week and what the progression up until summer is. So first, why would you want to be involved in this? This is a very hands-on experience. It is for those who really are invested in wanting to make a difference in the community, wanting to take your place, as Stacy said. But you don't have to know a lot yet. You really can come in with it, not knowing a lot about Howard County and perhaps not having done as much in the community, but really having a desire to. It's a 4-month program. It's very experiential, and it also helps you build leadership skills. This is geared towards students who are in public, private, or homeschooled. And then, as mentioned, you apply in your sophomore year, you attend in your junior summer through about December of junior year. Our goal is really to extend this to a variety of students that represent all 12 public schools, private schools, and the homeschools. There are 50 students accepted each year, 25 male and 25 female. Nikita mentioned some of the benefits of this. You can build confidence. You really help with your public speaking skills. You learn about your own strengths and your weaknesses, where you can improve, and you help with problem solving skills. Team building. You're thrown together in teams or put together in teams, and these are very diverse personalities, and you learn how to work with people of different personalities with acknowledging that diversity and being able to share, sometimes being a leader and sometimes being a follower. This is a student-led group in the project that are picked. It is not driven by any of us as the adults on the steering committee or Meg, or even the mentors. There are a mentor that's assigned to each of the groups, but those mentors are not directing what the students' program is or what they pick to do as their service project or how they go about it. They get some guides, and we all can be resources. Another benefit of this is that it's a safe environment. Failure is okay. In my career, I probably learned more from my failures than I did from my successes, and not every project is necessarily a true success in terms of perhaps attendance, or if it's a program where you're talking about people coming to something, or even about earning the most money to donate towards one of our organizations. It's really about the process and what you learn in this environment. Other benefits can be that you do learn and benefit from networking. You will learn a lot about the community and about our organizations, and you actually get a network of people. These folks actually give their phone numbers, their emails. Some of them, as Nikita had mentioned, help our students in the coming year or two in terms of internships or hooking them up with a job. They might end up being a reference for them. So you can have this as part of your professional network in your resume. And then, as Nikita mentioned already too, you gain friends. So it is a fun program, and it is what you put into it. I always want to mention, though, this is something that we want our students to want to do, and it shouldn't be something that the parent says you need to do. We want our students to want to do this too. We will show you kind of our key recruitment dates. This is important to know. If you want to take a picture of this slide, that's terrific too. We have up until the end or the beginning of the program, you will have your application due, your references, and a tuition assistance program submitted online. Those are due by March 11th, and everybody should be able to get on the website, Leadership U in Howard County. All these dates are in there too. We have interviews the week of March 29th. You're able to pick those interview dates. Selection is the week of April 19th, and you do get an email. Meg is going to go a little bit more into detail about those pieces, and it's real important that things fall in line so that you can apply and be accepted into the program. All of these commitments are mandatory. So the dates that have to be picked for summer week are yet to be scheduled. Really depends on some of what's happening with COVID at the moment. But you will have, hopefully, as we did this past year, a mix of in-person and online. To tell you a little bit more about our summer week, so we kick this off with a summer week where the students spend a week getting to know about Howard County and also getting to know each other. So it starts on Sunday, July 25th. This is at Terrapin Adventures, so it does start in the evening, and then Monday is some more Terrapin Adventures and really getting to know your peers. It's very hands-on, as we've mentioned, and part of this may be in person and part of this may be online due to COVID. It is a mandatory week, to mention again. You will learn about healthcare, and even if it's a virtual visit, we have key folks from the hospital, whether it's our president or vice presidents from the hospital, and then a health fair, folks from diversity and inclusion, the public safety office, as mentioned, Dr. Calvin Ball actually spoke to the students last year, so we learned about the government. And then you meet a lot of folks from the nonprofits and really get to know about the needs in the community. I would say every year, the students, as well as parents sometimes, especially when they see the projects, learn that we may be one of the best cities in the country, but we still have a lot of people who aren't having all their needs met. And there are a lot of ways that we can make a difference. There is also a visit to the one of the 50+ centers in the community, which is another benefit to the program. And as I mentioned, a health services fair. And along with all this, we put into the program leadership, teaching, and helping students to improve their leadership skills. At the end of that summer week, really on that Friday, it's up to the students in terms of brainstorming what their projects will be. So we expose them to a lot. They may also have ideas based on what's happening in the environment. And then there's a voting process where the students actually raise ideas and they're able to vote for the topics that mean the most to them. And based on those votes that they have, we narrow it down to 7 topics for those community service topics, service projects. And then we are able to use what we know about the students and some of their diversity in terms of their schools, male or female, what their leadership styles are, and then they're placed in most always their first or second choice in terms of those 7 projects. And at the same time, we have 7 mentors that many of them who've been with us for many years, and a mentor is assigned to each group. Karen will get a little bit more into how that works as we go into the fall program. So Karen Cherry is my co-chair, who I'm honored to work with, and I will introduce her.
Thanks, Eileen. So as Eileen mentioned, at the end of summer week, the students get to select the projects that they will be working on for the duration of the time that they're with the Leadership U program. And again, I just want to reiterate what Eileen had said earlier. This is a completely student-driven program. So they get to work on the projects that they want to work on, and they can figure out what the community service project is that they want to implement during their time with us. We do have meetings on 9 Sundays from 2 to 4:30 from about middle of August through early December. Most of the work will be done during those Sunday sessions. However, depending on what kind of project the team selects to do, there may be some time required outside of those Sunday meetings. And then most of the project implementations are done outside of the Sunday meetings. Again, this is very flexible, just based on what projects they decide to work on. Also, as Eileen mentioned, the leadership lessons are a really important part of these Sunday sessions. This past year, where we did a lot of socially distanced work, the mentors really worked with each team to help with the leadership lessons. In previous years, we were able to do this as a large group. Again, we're going to have to ask for some flexibility here from both students and parents as we're looking into what this program is going to look like this year. We hope to do as much as possible in person, but there may need to be some virtual requirements to the program as well. The mentors, as Eileen mentioned, each group will get a mentor. These mentors are people who are really there to help the students and guide them through the work of their project. The mentors are not there to really be, to serve as a teacher or to serve as a project leader. The mentors are there to make connections, to help facilitate the work that the students are doing, and really to make sure that the students are creating a project that is a manageable project, in the timeline that we have to implement the project. So I kind of relate it to like bowling. So if you've ever been bowling and they put up the gutters to make sure that the bowling ball doesn't fall in the gutter, that's the mentor. The mentor keeps the ball rolling down the aisle in the right direction, or down the bowling lane in the right direction. So some things that are important for the parents to know. Graduation. I skipped right over the most important part of the program, graduation. Graduation is a really special night. It's a culmination of all of the work that these students have put into their projects, where they really get to show off for their parents, for school administrators, business leaders in the community. This past year, we had to do a virtual graduation, and it was, even though it was in a virtual environment, it was really a special night where the students got to celebrate all of the work and all of the success that they had accomplished over the course of the sessions that they had with us. It is typically the first Sunday in December. All of the crucial dates in the program will be decided and announced during orientation, which is June 2nd. So you'll be able to schedule out your fall with Leadership U and all of the important dates. Okay, now to what the parents need to know. As I mentioned, the schedule. Again, some days may need to be virtual. This is really the kind of program where you benefit from the collaboration of the teams and the students working together. So we have been able to create that synergy even in a virtual environment, and even in an environment where there needs to be social distancing and separation, physical separation. We still have been able to create an environment where the students are really collaboratively working on their projects. So parents, we need you to get your students back and forth to the meetings on time. Meg is a stickler for time. She will start the sessions on time and she will end the sessions on time. So we understand that junior year is the time of year where students are getting driver's licenses, and so at the stage where the parents are responsible for getting the students back and forth, we ask you do that in a timely manner, and also encourage your students, if and when they are driving themselves, to also be respectful of start and end times. During summer week, we do provide breakfast, lunch, and snacks for the students. Again, we're going to try and do as much of this in person as possible. Summer week is really a time where those bonds are being formed, because these students are coming from all different schools across the county, as well as some homeschooling students. And so those bonds are really created during summer week. We do provide, again, some breakfast, lunch, and snack for the students during that week. Parents, we ask that you attend a couple of sessions during the course of the time that your students are with us. We ask that you be there for orientation. As I mentioned, this year's orientation is going to be June 2nd. The mentor meeting is a time where pretty early on in the program, the mentor will meet with the parents and give the parents an idea of what the project is, what the students are working on, and what they're focused on. I don't know about you guys, but my children don't tell me a whole lot of what they're working on in school. And when they go through a program like this, they're equally as non-sharing with me as their mother. So this was a time when my daughter went through the Leadership U program. I really got to understand what she was doing during her time with Leadership U. So the mentor will be able to share quite a bit of information with you at that time. And then we do ask that you attend graduation, whether it's in person or virtual. Again, we will be communicating with you all as things become more clear on what that situation tends to be. So we've done a lot of talking as adults. I think that the most impactful thing for you all to hear is really from some students. We have the privilege of having two of our graduates serve on the steering committee with us. This year's representatives are Nico and Shervery, and I'm going to turn the microphone over to them to talk to you a little bit about their experience with Leadership U.
Hi, everyone. My name is Shervery Thorodker, and I'm a junior at River Hill High School. I was a part of the Leadership U class of 2020, and I'm now student representative on the steering committee. For me, Leadership U provided an incredible opportunity to expand my network. Not only did I get to meet so many community leaders and representatives from nonprofits from across Howard County, but I also got to establish connections with peers from different schools, an opportunity that I hadn't really had before. Being able to work with my team members allowed me to learn how to play to everyone's strengths in order to ensure that our final product was the best that it could be. LU Summer Week also really opened my eyes to the various issues that our community faces every day. For me, a virtual poverty simulation that we participated in had a real impact because it allowed us to understand just how many things someone has to take into consideration when budgeting and the extent of food insecurity in Howard County, which is an issue that exists but isn't really discussed. This ultimately encouraged me to work on a community service project targeted at alleviating food insecurity. Our success with the project built my confidence and really allowed me to see that even a group of teenagers can have a significant impact on the community. Thank you.
Okay, so hi, my name is Nico Drummond. I'm a junior at Howard High School. And like Shervery, I was part of the class of 2020. And on the first night, or the first day of Leadership U, a representative from Terrapin Adventures talked to us about the color perspectives. And if you're not familiar with the color perspectives, it splits people into 4 different groups, okay? Reds, blues, yellows, and greens. Reds are really bold and assertive. They like to jump right into it, get it done, get right at it. Blues really focused on doing things right.
Nico, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I know I'm having trouble hearing you, so I don't know if you could maybe move a little closer to your microphone.
I can try adjusting the audio settings. Hold on. Can you hear me any better, or is it still really quiet?
It's still fairly low. Much better. That works.
I'm sorry.
No worries.
Let's try this again.
Thank you.
The rainbow personality test splits people into 4 different groups. Reds are really bold and assertive. They like to jump right into it, get things done. They're all about it. Blues, much more focused on instructions, taking their time, making sure everything's done right. Greens, they like to make sure that people feel represented and are part of the process. And yellows are really interested in bringing everybody together. Let's make it a party. And before coming into Leadership U, we all did these personality tests and found who we were and what color we were on this personality test. But as we got into our groups, our 6 and 7 person groups, those hard and fast personality traits started to fall off a little bit. And I'm going to use the analogy of a painting, right? What painting do you know that only uses red, blue, green, and yellow? You mix them up, you put a little bit over here, you use a little bit of another color over here. And as we went through this 3-month experience, we kept using little bits and little bits, little strengths of this person, little personality traits of this person. And we ended up making these projects that were really, really unique and personable and awesome, for lack of a better word. And so this experience really brings out both your personality traits, but lets you highlight and work with people who you might not have worked with otherwise. And that's a really awesome and cool part of Leadership U.
Thank you, Nico. So I am going to speak. Let me change the slide. And let's see, there we go. So I'm going to talk about recruitment and the interview process and the application process, but I wanted to quickly go over the key dates. As Eileen said, March 11th, the applications are due, the references are due, and the tuition assistance is due. You can submit those online, but we'll talk about that in more detail. In March, the week of March 29th, we will be hosting our interviews. And then the week of April 19th, we'll be selecting our students. We do send an email notification by May 1st to everybody who has applied, and those will be students who are selected, who are not selected, and then also who are waitlisted. And then by May 15th, students need to make a decision, those who are selected, whether they want to accept the spot into the class or not. Sometimes students do have other opportunities or have conflicts they don't realize and can't make the full commitment. So we do give them till May 15th to actually take their spot. So let's talk about the application process. So they are online, they're on our website, they're all together. It's the application, the references, and of course the tuition assistance form. The application, you can go on right now and take a look at it. You know, it's no big secret or anything. There are 8 short sort of, essay questions, a couple paragraphs. It's, there's no weight test on that. We want you to put some quality into your writing, not necessarily quantity. But we want we want you to answer the questions to the best of your ability, to give us some idea of who you are and, what your aspirations are and what's your background, what kind of activities are you involved in. And then we do score both the application and the interviews. We do not score the references. They are due March 11th, but that's not to say you can't get them in sooner. It's the advantage of getting them in sooner would be that you are able to schedule your interview once that application is in. You will get first dibs on the time slots for the interview. So keep that in mind. For references, there are 2 of them that are required for obvious reasons. They can't be a family member. We need one from school and we need one from the community. They could be a 9th grade teacher, they could be a current teacher, they could be a coach. For community, it could be someone from your faith-based program. It could be where you volunteer. Maybe you have a job. It could be a neighbor. It's someone who knows you, who can share a little bit about you, what kind of person you are, what's your personality like. If they've seen you in a leadership situation, they can reflect on that. And students are required to actually ask their references to be a reference for them. And even though when you fill out the application, you will identify your references and you'll put their contact information, we do not contact them. It is your responsibility as a student to contact them. You will direct them to the website, our website, and there is an actual link to a form they can submit. So you actually, once you ask them and you give them the information, then it comes directly to us. You don't need to collect the reference and give it to us. It's all done anonymously for them in terms of not letting the students see what they're writing. A couple of important tips. It's important to give your reference enough time. If you are interested in applying to Leadership U, I would highly recommend that you contact your reference, right away in the next couple weeks, because you want to give them enough time to submit a recommendation. We don't, generally adults hate when they have a very short notice to get something done. Just out of respect, it's important to give them enough time. So I would highly recommend that you do that even before you submit your application, because that way they do have plenty of time to get that done. It's also important to give a frame of reference for your reference. That sounds redundant, but anyway, it's important for them to understand, why are they writing you a reference? What is this program, Leadership U? So it's important, I think, to share our website, tell them a little bit about the program. I know with COVID, you probably can't ask them in person, but if you can call them or send them an email, hopefully it's someone who knows you pretty well, and they would be willing, to write a reference for you. And so it is one person from school and then one person from the community. For school, it could also be an administrator. It could be a guidance, your guidance counselor. It could be a school club advisor. And as I said before, it could be teachers. And a good idea is to really, if there's ninth grade teachers that know you well, it's not a bad idea to actually ask them to write a reference, because your 10th grade teachers have only had you for half a year. So I guess it's up to you to decide who would make your best references. So the interview process, we will most likely interview all of the students that apply. We do kind of wait and see how many students apply to see what the numbers are like, but most likely we will interview everyone who applies, unless there's some crazy amount of students, and then we might re-review the applications and then invite people to interview. But right now we're planning on interviewing everyone. We will be offering them both in person and virtually. If we are, we're going to set up a certain schedule for it. If it ends up we need to add more in person or more virtual, we will do that. We do ask for your flexibility in that, because we're trying to all be very careful with COVID, but we have a big space that we can use, so we can do some of them in person. But if families are not comfortable, you do not need to do them in person. We can do them through Zoom. We did them all last year through Zoom, so we kind of have that down. They are conducted in small groups of 2 to 3 students. And as I said before, they will be scheduled from 4 o'clock till about 8 in the evening, the week of March 29th, Monday through Thursday. They are 25 minutes long. Students are asked to wear business casual attire. You want to, anytime you're interviewing for any type of position or a job or a program, you want to look your best. You want to be neat. You want to, wear clothing that looks professional. For females, maybe a nice blouse or a sweater, some black pants. For the gentlemen, it could be a collared shirt. It could be some folks will wear a golf shirt. It's probably better to wear a dress shirt. No need to have a tie for us, but if you ever have some other kind of interview, it might be a good idea to wear a tie. Totally up to you, but you want to look professional. You want to look well groomed. You want to make sure you arrive on time, whether it's virtual or if it's in person. If you are coming in person, we will probably ask you to arrive, about 15 minutes early, so we can do temperature checks and that kind of thing, and hand sanitizing, and you make sure that we are following our safety protocols. I see the slide says 3 o'clock, but since school goes later, we're going to start at 4 o'clock and go till about 8 o'clock in the evenings. We will be using Sign Up Genius to sign up. We are working on that right now, and it will indicate whether those days are virtual or in person, so you can select what you're comfortable doing. And as I mentioned before, we will be scheduling the interviews based on when we receive your application. So the first students that get their applications in get the best choice of their time frame for their interview. So acceptance will be, students will be notified by May 1st of their acceptance into the program. We do ask that all the students and their parents attend the orientation meeting, which was previously discussed. It may be virtual, we're not really sure at this point, but it will be on June 2nd, 6 to 7:30. At that meeting, we will go over all of the dates and the requirements and just kind of reiterate a lot of what the details are of the program, so everybody's on board with what the expectation is. It's always important that everybody understands what that means. There is a cost. We are not part of the school system. We are a nonprofit, and we are not part of the government. So there is a tuition cost. It is $995 for the 4-month program. We do have tuition assistance. We have a number of scholarships available for students. We do have a payment plan. When you submit your application, it's important to submit your tuition assistance form at that time, and that is on our website. And as noted, there are a number of private donors. We have a Women's Giving Circle. We have a number of other folks that have given in the past that we will be asking. We're going to be applying for additional grants. And so we want any student who wants to do the program and is accepted into the program to not have the tuition costs be a barrier for them. Students who are on farms or not on farms all qualify to get tuition assistance. We just ask you to fill out the form and to let us know what is your situation, what is your need. And we may contact you for additional information, but we want to make sure that no student is turned away because they can't afford to be a part of our program. And so it's so important for us to make sure students are aware of that, because we know sometimes students do see the price tag and say, I can't afford it, especially now with COVID and the financial impact that has had on families. So we just want to make sure families know that we do have assistance, and we want those students to participate for those who are accepted. We do not look at the tuition assistance forms when we are looking at acceptance. That is a separate entity. The only folks that see those forms are our CEO, Stacey Hunt, and myself, the LU director. So just so you know, that it's not shared with anybody and it's not a part of the acceptance. You have to get in on your own merit and through your quality of your application and through your interview. And then we look at the tuition piece of it for financial assistance. So now I would like to introduce Teresa Johnston. She is a parent of a graduate from Leadership U this past class, LU 2020. And she also had a niece go through the program, which is a little unusual. So I'm going to turn it over to her, and she's going to share a little bit about her experience being a parent of an LU student.
Thank you, Meg. Good evening. My name is Teresa Johnston, and my son just went through Leadership U 2020, class of 2020. I went through Leadership Premier, class of 2015. So I have had experience with Leadership Howard County for the last 6 years. And I learned about the Leadership U opportunity when I was going through my own Leadership Premier class and loved it so much. I thought it would be a great idea for my kids to try it, and my youngest did. And he's a student, junior at Appleton High School, and he really enjoyed it. And it was an interesting perspective that he and I could both share his experience with Leadership U and my experience with Leadership Premier about what he learned. This is not a normal time. And so when I knew with everything that leadership offers and the people you get to meet and the places you go, I was curious to see how Meg and the staff would be able to do it during these times with COVID, et cetera. And I thought they did a phenomenal job. As Eileen stated, this is all student led. And that was the number one thing that my son really loved, is that it was student led. Felt safe during the times that they got together and in person. And also when they were online, he enjoyed those classes as well. It pushed him out of his comfort zone a bit, which I thought was great because he doesn't join a lot of clubs. He's not like my daughter, who pretty much joined everything. And so this pushed him out of his comfort zone a bit. And I could just see the confidence building with each session. We discussed what he learned. Columbia, Maryland is my hometown. It's also his hometown as well, but we're talking about learning everything about Howard County. And so he and I would discuss the needs that were out there. He was part of the food insecurity project. They raised just a great deal of food donations and monetary donations. And I could tell he was really, really proud of the work that he did with that project. And he enjoyed working with his teammates and meeting other students from other high schools in the county. As a parent, I was extremely satisfied with the safety protocols that were put in place during this time. I loved getting the updates from the mentor and the mentor sessions that we were able to sit in. And then finally for graduation, it was a virtual graduation, but my husband and I were both blown away by it, by the projects that all the student groups presented. They were phenomenal and just incredibly fascinating as we watched each student team present their project. We learned a lot. And in the end, I thought Leadership U, the staff, everybody did a phenomenal job. And I highly recommend it. If you're looking for something to push you out of your comfort zone, try something new, meet some new people, learn about your hometown where you live. I think it's a great thing to do.
Great, thank you, Teresa, I appreciate that. For those who want to, I think it was on one of the slides, but you can go on our Facebook page. I know a lot of younger folks are not on Facebook, but you can go on our Facebook page and watch the video of graduation. And I think it gives you a good feel for what the program is all about and what the end projects are like. So I think that's something good for folks to do. We also had an awesome, fun principal, kind of a short video from them at the end that was really fun. They all submitted a short 30, 45-second clip of congratulating the class. And it's really fun. So even if you just go watch the last 6 or 8 minutes of the video, it's pretty cool. So getting ready to wrap up, I just want to mention that we do have student ambassadors at most of the high schools, the public high schools, and some of the private schools. And these are students that graduated in 2020, and they can be a resource for, I'm going to put their names up. They can be a resource for both students and parents. If you want to, talk to someone from your school, and we do have 2 private schools represented, Chapelgate and Glenelg Country School, and our homeschool program. So you can talk to these students and hear about their experience and ask them questions if you are not comfortable asking us questions. But they are a resource for students and parents, and also for our school administrators. So that is the end of our formal presentation. We'd like to open it up for questions. I'm going to stop sharing. I do have my contact information. You can go on our website. It's mignacio@leadershiphc.org. I am currently, like most of us, I am working at my home, but as you'll see in my emails at the bottom is my cell number if you need to reach out to me. And then our website, leadershiphc.org, and you can go under the Leadership U page. So please reach out to me if you do have questions after this, but I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I can see the audience. But anyway, so does anybody have any questions, or did we just do such a fantastic job? Maybe we
Currently,
did.
there are no questions in the chat box, but now's your chance, everybody.
Okay, well, so there is one question. Can you share the presentation? We are recording this, so I am going to send out probably maybe not tomorrow, but maybe Monday, the recording of this presentation, so you can hear the words and see the slideshow. You did receive we did email all the students the program overview. There's probably a couple other things on our website if you want to wander over there and check some of the things out. So you can do that too. Oh, now we're getting some questions.
We've
Yay.
got some. So your next
Right.
question is how many students are accepted from each school?
Well, that just depends on how many students apply. Overall, we take 50 students in the program, and that would include students from not only public school, but also homeschool and private schools. We want to make sure every public school in Howard County is represented. So we typically, kind of depends on how many students apply, but typically we might take, the goal would be to take 3 or 4 students from every school, but obviously if maybe we only have 2 students from one school apply and 10 from another, we might take a few more. But our goal would be to have a fair representation of all of our public schools, high schools in Howard County. So hopefully that helps frame
Sure.
that. for you.
Next question is there a preferred length for application answers?
I would say it's just important to be succinct in your answers. As I said, we're not like doing a word count and you get more points if you say more things. It's about the quality of your writing. So, we just really want to, we are scoring them. So it's important to put thought and share with us really a good answer, the good answers to those questions. The questions, there's no right or wrong answers to the questions on the application, but obviously if you don't give us any detail about some of the questions, then it's going to be hard to score you, right? So like, for example, one of the questions, who is your hero or heroine and why? So I feel like, in a paragraph or two, it should be easily answered, that question. But, if you don't answer the why part and you just say, I don't know, my hero is Barack Obama, and you don't tell us anything more, then you're probably not going to get full credit for that question. So, give us some detail, but we also don't want you, this should not be, a junior year writing project for people. This should be, try to make it succinct and to the point.
Great, Meg. The next question is, would it be okay to use someone from middle school for a reference, or should it be from high school?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I think for the school piece of it, it should be someone from high school. If that person if you know that person, like besides being a teacher, like if you know them on a personal level, they could be your community reference. Like, so if you have like a relationship with them and they taught you in middle school and you've volunteered with them or you've gotten to know them outside of school, then I think that would be okay. But I think it's important to have someone more current than middle school, since you guys are all in 10th grade.
Meg, the next question is related. It's about, can I use a high school coach and principal for my references? And my guess is one as a school reference, but then the other would need to be somebody different.
Correct. Now, if your high school coach is your club coach, is you're outside of your sports, that would be okay as your community reference. But I would pick one or the other. And we don't, if you have a principal, it's not like you get him, we don't go, oh, he's got a reference from the principal, like that scores higher. That it doesn't matter. It's about what they tell us about you. And we actually don't score the references anyway.
Meg, another one related to references is, could you give some examples of what would be a community reference again?
So that would be someone from your faith-based community. It could be a neighbor. It could be if you volunteer or if you're in Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts. It could be a coach. External to school. So if you are involved in, I don't know, like soccer, like club soccer, it could be your soccer coach. If you play an instrument and you have an instructor, it could be your music instructor. If you are involved in like a nonprofit dance organization, it could be someone from there. If you have a job, even like babysitting, it could be someone you babysit for. It just can't be a person from your family. So, I mean, whatever you think is the right person that knows you well enough, that can share sort of your personality and kind of a little bit about you.
The next question is about, clarify about the reference forms. Is there a form that references has to fill out, and where would we turn it in? And the answer is they don't turn it in, the reference turns it in, but
That's
you want to
correct.
talk through that?
Sure. So when you fill out the application for us, you will identify who are your references, and you'll include an email and some, like, what their job is, either, their professional job or whatever. And then it's up to you to contact that person and ask them if they're willing to give you a reference. You don't want to assume they're going to. You would like to ask them, and it's best to, if you can call them or, email them. It should be someone who knows you fairly well. And so you would reach out to them and you would let them know you're applying to Leadership U. You probably would want to share the leadership website with them and let them know that they can go on our website, and there's a separate button that is for references to submit for Leadership U. And it is important to note that we do have an adult program, and so sometimes people wander into the wrong section of our website and they'll submit a student reference through the adult program. But you just want to make sure, and probably what I can do is send out the link to the students on our website that you could share out with your references. And as I said earlier, it's really important. I mean, if you don't walk away with any information from this whole thing, it's important when you ask people for a reference that you do give them enough time. It's such an important life skill to be respectful of people's time. And so, like I said, I would, what I'll do is tomorrow I'll send out the link, but it is on our website, and you want to direct them to the website. They'll submit it and it comes directly to us. So the students are not involved in the actual collecting of the reference form or the actual submission. They're just asking for the reference and sharing out the link.
That's it. No more questions.
Okay, well, thank you everyone for coming. We know everybody is busy, so we appreciate your time. Like I said, I will share out the recording of tonight, just because there may be something that, maybe you forgot that we said, or you just want to look at it, whatever. So we will share that out. You have my contact information as I emailed all of the students today. Please feel free to contact me with any questions. I'm happy, even if we already answered them tonight, I am happy to help you in any way that I can. And like I said, if you're really interested, get your application in. You get first dibs on the interviews. And if you need any tuition assistance, put your request in. That would be great. But we really appreciate your time tonight, and we look forward to reading everybody's applications. Thank you for coming. Slowly but surely, they all go away. Goodbye, everyone. I feel like, on the island of Misfit Toys, and they're like, goodbye. Reference, Rudolph reference. All right, let's get one more. And let me stop recording.